wherever you're joining us, thank you for joining us today. I'm Koy Huxford, the national trainer at Novi Home. I've probably met most of you at some point or when I came out and did your Novi Home training. Grateful that you joined us today. Today we have two guests, and I'm super excited to have both Ty and Cody on here. If you joined, you just learned that Cody is a surf man. He's a surfer. So you already know a lot about him and what he likes to do in his free time. That's awesome. So actually, before we jump into anything else, Cody and Ty, could you guys just introduce yourselves? I'll introduce your builder and community in just a minute. Just introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, and we'll get started. Cody, go first, and then Ty.
Hey, yeah, my name is Cody. I am from here in Utah. I'm from Draper, Utah, and our community's out here in Eagle Mountain, Utah. And I've worked for Candlelight for a little over 2 years as a full-time sales agent. Yeah,
That's
I like
great.
to surf,
Thank you.
ski.
You like to do some of these extreme sports, which I think is really cool. That's awesome. Ty, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, Ty Brooks. I'm the VP of Sales for Candlelight Homes, and been doing it for quite a while now. I love mountain biking and skiing, so it just depends on whatever is in season. If it's ski season, I'm on the slopes, and if it's not, if it's warmer weather, I'm mountain biking.
Excellent.
That's my life.
Well, awesome. So yes, we are very excited for it. So for those joining us, we have people joining from really all over the country that join and listen to these. This is our third guest we've had on our webinar. We're super excited about this. Also, I want to note that this is also going to be put out on the Novi Knows podcast as well. So we have a Novi Knows podcast that was started about a year and a half, 2 years ago. We were releasing episodes pretty frequently with guests, and then just getting busy and things like that, it's kind of died off. But we're using these webinars actually to publish to the Novi Knows podcast. So the recording is going to be sent out to anyone listening live or anyone who registered, of course, and it'll be published on our Novi Knows podcast site as well. Candlelight Homes is the builder, right? Cody and Ty both work for Candlelight Homes. Candlelight Homes is here in Utah. Novi Home is based in Utah, so we're excited to have a local builder here with us on our first local builder that's been our guest. We're super excited to have them on here on today. Candlelight Homes is they are an excellent builder, and they have a really cool and unique community. And actually, so Ty, will you tell us a little bit more about Candlelight Homes and the Firefly community that you guys build in?
Yeah, so Candlelight Homes builds in one community, kind of unique, but also really, it's unique in that Firefly is a community of 8,790 homes. So it's very, very large. It is a community that was born off of an idea. And the idea was, well, it was really born off of a commercial if you go back far enough. So the commercial is the Nature Valley granola bar commercial, the green wrapper, crumbly granola bar. And that Nature Foods put out a commercial a little bit during COVID. It's probably 7-8 years old now, that commercial. But they interviewed three generations of family. They interviewed the grandparents, parents, and kids. And what they did is they just asked each one of these generations what they did when they were kids for fun. And they asked the grandparents, and the grandparents are telling stories like, we'd go fishing, we'd catch fish, put them in our basket, and on our hike home, if we came across a black bear, we'd dump the fish out and we'd scamper home, right? That was the grandparents. And then the parents, their answers were like, we would build forts, or we would play games out in the street until the street lights came on. And then they asked the kids, what'd you do today for fun? And it's you get, some of the most predictable and also some really sad answers. Like 2 8-year-old girls answer emailed and texted. A boy answers that he's binge watched, 8 hours of Netflix. And they're in these video games. They're creating lives inside of these video games. And so Firefly was really born off of that. It was, how do we help these kids disconnect from their devices, really, and reconnect with, each other, reconnect with nature, reconnect with their families. And so that was the impetus behind Firefly. That's how it was born. And we now have we've got a very vibrant community. We have what we call an activities director, kind of like a cruise director for the kids. And her job, her exclusive job, is just to get the kids out into the parks, off their devices and out playing. She does some of the most remarkable activities. She does art, she does recreation, she does education with them. And it's really cool because you have this activities director who's pulling the kids out of the house, the parents who are pushing them. But what we're really trying to do is create a place where the kids willingly and wantingly put down their devices and start connecting with nature and with each other. So that's Firefly in a nutshell, Koy.
Okay, so I have had the opportunity to visit Firefly twice now. I visited it when it was early. I mean, there were like maybe 10 homes in the ground. So really, really early. I had the opportunity to revisit it again earlier this year, back in the spring. And there's now, I mean, I'm kind of estimating here, 100 to 200 homes, maybe more than that. I can't remember exactly. Up to more like 250, maybe 300 homes out there now. So it's obviously grown over the last couple of years. I've said this to my wife many times, actually. I said, I live in a different part of the state of Utah than where these guys are at. I've always said if we moved up that direction, that Firefly would be a place I would absolutely look, because the community is so cool and so unique. And it's obvious from you just showing up from the first moment you get there. It's a really, really cool, unique thing. So,
Koy, super quick. We've got a pump track. We've got one of the coolest skateboard parks. We've got pickleball courts, basketball courts. We have a downhill mountain bike park inside the community. So you can pedal up and ride down some of the coolest trails. There's a gap jump of 20 feet on one of the downhill trails. So, I mean, it really is. It's a place where kids can just put down their devices and get outside.
That's Cody. Ty does the 20-foot gap jump in his spare time, just so everybody knows, right? So, okay, Candlelight Homes, Firefly started. I want to say I met with you guys initially and did the Novi Home training. I think it was 2024, so it's probably been about 2.5 years since homes have been built in this community. Ty, I remember when I first connected with you and was working with you, you were kind of explaining me the background of your team, right? Like who you guys were hiring and the makeup of your sales team. Will you tell me a little bit more about that? Because this is also really unique, but I think it's really, really cool how you decided to hire and what type of people you decided to hire to sell your homes out there.
Yeah, the uniqueness of the community, I guess, demanded a unique salesperson as well. Mm-hmm. There are some really good salespeople out there who sell homes really well. But what we wanted was somebody who really fit the mission of Firefly. It is a mission-driven community. We are profit-driven as well, but we are primarily mission-driven, and that mission is what I just talked about. And so, to drive this mission, it was really, how do we sell the mission so that we get like-minded people, who are building this community from the ground up. And we did that through not hiring seasoned professionals. We did that through hiring more inexperienced salespeople. In fact, one of our top sales agents now, he had never even sold a glass of lemonade. He had never sold anything in his life. I was like, dude, did you even do a lemonade stand when you were a kid? He's like, no, I never sold anything. It was really cool though. We hired him. He has some remarkable skills, right? Super professional and personable. And he's just got a lot of really innate sales skills inside of him. So we took him to a sales training camp, and here he is with probably 75 of some of the top sales agents in the country. And they had a competition in this at this sales camp. And at the end of the competition, they gave an award to the person who sold the best. And and it was Curtis. Cody wasn't Cody hadn't been hired yet. So we didn't take him. Otherwise, he probably would have competed really strongly with Curtis. But really, the idea was, how do we bring a group of people who have energy? And like you just heard from Cody, we wanted people who match this mission, this vision of adventure and energy and just getting out and living life. So we knew that if we were hiring people who had that mission kind of innately inside of them, that they could then sell the mission, sell the community, and then the community would sell the homes. So that has been our philosophy, and that's why we decided to hire so differently.
Yeah, and I love. So again, when I first met with you guys back in 2024, community was still very new. Very few homes had been up at that point. And I remember meeting with your sales teams, and it was one of the most unique but also memorable trainings that I have done for Novi Home, because oftentimes when I meet with builders, sales teams, when I introduce the idea of Novi Home to them, right, how, hey, you can use the app to track leads. You can do a registration right from your phone. It'll have that individual download an app instead of giving them brochures and paperwork, right? This is a very it's kind of a really outside the box concept to a lot of people that I meet with, right? But when I met with the Candlelight team, because very few of them had really any experience in new home sales, there really weren't any habits to break. They didn't really know anything different. So when I introduced Novi Home to them, I remember that they were so receptive, because the light bulb, it seemed to go off immediately for all of them. Oh yeah, this would absolutely work. So Cody, I actually want you to talk a little bit more about that. You never really had to break any bad sales habits as far as technology goes in Novi Home, because that's how you've kind of always done it from the start. Tell us a little bit more. How did that affect your how did you feel that helped you adopt Novi Home from the beginning?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like nowadays, whenever you're interacting with businesses or whatnot, you always download an app, right? So I'm kind of used to you getting on your airline, you have an app. If you're getting fast food, they have their own app. So I think I was just used to kind of that interaction of getting the best experience through an app. And when we started with Novi Home, we were doing the parade of homes here in Utah, basically like the home show in Utah and at that point, we didn't have any homes built up other than our models to sell. And so the app was the best way to capture people, have them fill out basically some of the required fields is their number and email. And from there, you're connected. You have your chat feature on the app. You have the client's information. And the app is really just a really good basis for live updates as the community would grow in the future. And so basically just getting people on the app and selling the mission of Firefly and how the app will be able to represent the mission, show the community map, show the amenities in the community, as well as those live updates. I think it really helped in our day one sales strategy.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And especially, right, yes, because you guys adopted it when there was really not much to show yet. You had your 3 model homes, but there weren't even a whole lot of specs or homes being built yet. Obviously, you have more of that now when people come out to the community and things have been built out more. So you have more to show them. Now, I do want to be clear for anyone listening, right? We're not trying to say that experience is not valuable. Of course, experience is valuable, right? In new home sales. I work with many sales agents who have years and years of experience in new home sales and in real estate. And I learn things from them all the time and continue to learn things from them, right, all the time. So excellent salespeople that have tons of experience, and there is value in that, right? But sometimes, right, when you start a new process and from the beginning, you don't have to kind of break some of these old traditional model home practices, I guess. And that kind of leads me into my next question, is that the traditional model home experience for builders is somebody comes in, you tour the model home, and at some point you're going to ask that individual for their information, their name, their email, their phone number. And most builders use a paper registration card. Even many builders still do that now. And then they give brochures, handouts, pamphlets, right? Folders of information and stuff like that, right? And that's not to say that that's not good, but I definitely think there's a better way to do it. And I kind of wanted you guys to speak to that a little bit. So Ty, I'll kind of direct this one at you. In your guys' model homes, and just for everyone listening, Candlelight Homes is paperless in their model homes. Okay. They don't give out, they don't do paper reg cards. They don't give out brochures, pamphlets, flyers, or anything. They are completely paperless. So Ty, talk to me a little bit about the decision that you guys made to really be paperless from the beginning and how Novi Home has been a big part of that.
Yeah. So there are a lot of reasons. I think, I've toured so many model homes throughout the country, and the papers on the desk, you go into the sales office and there's usually just papers everywhere. I think a lot of times it just ends up being clutter. It doesn't look super clean. And so that was a big reason for it. There's obviously a cost savings associated with, not having, 15 brochures out on the counter, and then, something changes on either the floor plan or the price, and now you're throwing all that paper away. So there's a piece there. Going back just a half a step, this generation, Cody's generation, they grew up without cell phones, right? And without the this digital dilemma that the kids are experiencing now. But it was about halfway through their, at least Cody's growing up, that his life was really interrupted. I mean, Cody's one of those last human beings to ever live on the earth without, growing up with a cell phone in his hand or an iPad in his hand. And I think that's pretty remarkable, right? The pen is one of those tools that we don't have any of them in our sales offices. So if you're looking for a pencil or a pen, you're just not going to find them because there is no paper. But the idea behind going paperless really was, how do we take that next step? And we'll probably get into this a little bit more, but once you hand somebody a piece of paper, they walk out of the office, you have no idea if they ever go back and look at that paper, those brochures ever again. Where when you came to us and you showed us this app, and immediately we could see the value of, okay, you're leaving with the app, and now we get to track when you go back and relook at that app. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. And I'm sure we'll talk more about this, but it's one of my favorite parts of being paperless is now we get this tracking ability for when people do go back and look at our electronic brochures.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Well, we're going to talk in more detail in a little bit about tracking specifically, right? And I'll have both of you touch on that. But the paperless, the idea to be paperless, guys, was a part of the Candlelight and Firefly mission. Really, and Novi Home was a big contributor to that. But I think that decision was really almost made before Novi Home was even a part of the process, right? And so then Novi Home just was an immediate, obvious fit because of that, right?
And a great partner in helping us achieve that goal. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And so now the sales agents at Firefly, right, they just use Novi to do essentially lead capture and share digital brochures, right? And that's how I explain it to a lot of people is the app is essentially just a giant digital brochure. It has a lot more information that you really could ever give somebody on a piece of paper. And it's because it's digital, it's going to stay up to date, right? Like, so whenever somebody looks at it, they're looking at accurate information. So Cody, I want to kind of direct this one at you. Because you guys don't have any paper, right? Tell me about the adoption rate from the leads that you interact with Novi Home. Like the people that you invite to the app, talk to me a little bit about how many of them actually download it and essentially like the adoption rate that you get from prospective customers because there is no paper in the model.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think, one of the most questions you do get when someone comes to your model is the question, do you have a pamphlet? Do you have a brochure, a pricing sheet? And from there, it's really an easy transition to talking about our app. We say, here at Candlelight, we're paperless, but we do have an app. And then I kind of tell people, a lot of people really love the app because of the universal information you get on the app and the live updates of the pricing and the community. And then typically what I'll do is I'll show them the app on my phone, and I'll be able to let's say we just walk some of the homes with them. I can click on the home we walked and show them all the pictures of the home. And then I can kind of show them some community information. And I think once they see that, they instantly see how valuable the app is. And so I would say 90 to 95% of the people who, are asking for that brochure end up getting converted onto our app. So it really isn't a difficult transition. And I think it definitely has more benefits than handing them the paper. So,
well, right, because you guys are paperless, the kind of the beauty of it is that you don't have the option to give them the pamphlet, no. Right? And so essentially, if a prospective buyer wants more information about the community or wants to be able to stay in touch or stay connected to you guys, the app is really how they do that, right? And I think once people realize that, of course they'll download your app, right? I've said this so many times, people download apps for things that are far less important than their home buying journey, right? Like we use there's many examples. Every fast food chain, almost every restaurant has apps now. And then that's just how we interact with businesses. Cody, you talked about that earlier, right? Like we use apps for things that are less important than this. And so people are very, very keen to download the app once they understand its value. And that's what I'm always trying to get sales agents to understand is that, yes, they will absolutely download and use your app. They just have to understand why it's valuable to them, right? And once they do that, then they'll absolutely do it, okay? Ty, when we met last week, we talked about this a little bit, and I want you to kind of touch on this. Why would you say that an app experience for a prospect is better than just pointing them back to your website? Because Candlelight Homes has an excellent website, but why, once they've come to the model and seen you, why is it better for them to be on your app versus putting them back there?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of reasons. I would say one of the coolest is, so the app, yes, it's the digital brochure, but it's actually way deeper than that. So I think one of the coolest things is when we update pricing, when we update photos, the buyer actually gets pinged. Like you can't do that through a website, right?
Right.
Website's not going to alert you to a price change or to any change, whatever the update in photos. It's just not going to be able to reach out and grab you and say, hey, someone else liked this house. So that's a unique piece of it. I also really like the app experience because I think when somebody's on a website, when someone's surfing the web, jumping over to a different website is just so easy, and you're kind of bouncing and surfing around. Where if you're in the app, you're in their ecosystem, right? You're able to look at all the different homes and the pictures that are associated with the homes. So and our app is actually very, very in-depth. So we've got more than just the floor plans on there. We've got the experience, the mission of Firefly is in there. Mm-hmm. I mean, basically every brochure that you could ever include, contact information, closing information, it's all in there. So they can experience the whole buyer journey through the app.
Yeah, absolutely. And because you guys, Firefly is, and this can be true of a lot of communities, but Firefly, you guys are selling the community, right? Where you're not just purchasing a home, you are living in this really, really cool, unique community. So you need to be able to easily, right, sell that to people. And yes, it is so true, right? Like all of us have computers, laptops, desktops, right? Whatever. We're on the web, and how many of you have 10 to 20 tabs open on your computer right now, if not more, right? So, right, like, so you just like, it's so you flip back and forth, like, it is very hard to stay like on one area. Yes, they also can't be notified from a website. And I want to touch on this, right? Sometimes when I'm meeting with new teams, and we don't get this question as often, but we used to get it more, but like, like we already have a website. Builders say that to us, like, we have a website, like, why would we need an app, right? And it's the same reason that Chick-fil-A has a website and an app, and Target has a website and an app, and right, it's the exact same concept, right? You need the website. Novi Home is not trying to replace that, nor will it ever replace the website. The website drives leads to you. It drives traffic, right? It helps people find you guys when they are on the web browsing. But once they've come and met with you, right, then at that point, there's a good chance they've already been on your website, and that's why they came out to your model home in the first place, right? Maybe they called your OSC and now they're there, or they just came out on their own, right? But the app it allows you to kind of control their experience from the moment they make contact with you. And I kind of want to touch a little bit more on this and controlling their experience and sending notifications about things that they want to be notified about, right? So Cody, in your guys' app, right, you guys are one that use the watcher feature so well. You guys get a lot of watchers on your homes. If you went and looked at all of your homes, I mean, you guys 10 plus on many of your homes, 10 plus watchers. Okay. And just for anyone listening, if you don't know what a watcher is in Novi Home, every home that's for sale in your community gets added to Novi Home and people can watch it. Okay. It's just kind of like a watcher on eBay. It's kind of the same concept, but anyone can go and favorite that home and watch it. The sales team can recommend homes, or you can actually add a prospect as a watcher to any home. And that would be typically a home that you've probably spoken with or toured with that individual, right? So you guys get a lot of watchers on your homes naturally because you guys register and invite every prospect who comes to your model home. So they're in there just favoriting things on their own as they're browsing the app. But you guys are also really good, Cody, at recommending or adding prospects as watchers to specific homes that you know that would fit their, whether that's their price point, timeline of move-in, square footage size, all those things. So talk to me a little bit more about what homes you add people as watchers, what homes you recommend for people, and how that process works for you.
Yeah. So typically when going through the sales process with a client, one of the most important things is to narrow down which home fits their needs and a home that they will love. Right. And so that's a part of the process going through the appointment. We use the 4-2 formula. And so finding and dialing the home for the client is super important. And we know, a simple mind is a mind that will make a decision. So really we are trying to hone in on 1 or 2 homes, right? We don't want them to have, too many homes in their head. So typically after the appointment, I'll get them on the app and I'll actually sign it to them right then and there, the home that we walked. Typically we find, their favorite home, and I say, hey, I'm assigning this home to you. So when you get home, you can go look at the pictures. You can remember the home that we walked. Sometimes, after the appointment, I'll send them a text. Hey, I sent you the favorited the home for you on the app, so you can go check it out. And then, in other scenarios, maybe someone's looking for, I don't know, brown cabinets or something like that. I'm able to go on the app and then favorite some homes for them that have those brown cabinets. And so I think it's a good way for people to keep the home in their mind, So yeah, it's really easy. Beyond the homes I add, people are constantly getting on there and they're adding homes they're interested in, or maybe they're going through the process of building up their credit, or if they have to sell a home, they want to keep an eye on that home. And yeah, they're easily able to do that from the app.
Right. Because you guys have such a high download rate of your app, right? You guys have a higher than average download rate of the app compared to others across the country. So again, kudos to you guys. A lot of that being from, you guys are paperless in the model, I think is a big contributor to that. But you guys, because you get so many people on there, people naturally just favorite homes. If they get in there and they're scrolling through it, they will favorite the homes themselves. But what Cody's doing and what Cody just described is essentially he's showing the prospect hey, we toured this house. I know you like this house, like because of, again, the price point, because it has the brown cabinets that you love or whatever it is. So Cody's going in and right in front of them. I love that you said, Cody, that I actually do it right in front of them, right? Like I just say, hey, I'm going to add you to this home as a watcher, however you explain that. And that way they know that, okay, when I go into the app later, like I'll see that home. Like I'm going to be able to easily, quickly identify it. So keep in mind when people go into your app, guys, for most of our builders that have multiple communities, they can see homes in multiple communities in your app, right? For Firefly, that's a little unique. There's just the one community, but for many, it's multiple communities, multiple homes. But if you favorite something or add them as a watcher, it puts it like in a favorites folder essentially for them. So they don't have to go scrolling through the app to try and find it. It's just right there at the front, really. The other thing that's important, tying this back to what Ty said earlier with how the app can notify them and it sends notifications about homes. When people watch homes, all of the watchers on a home are mass notified when the price changes on that home, when a member of the team goes and adds new photos of that home, right? And there's a few other examples of notifications, but those two I think are really important. So Cody and other agents at Candlelight are good at going and just taking some pictures of even inventory homes. They go take some couple of progress photos of a home that's being built. When they add that in the app, all the watchers on that home are going to get a ping that says, hey, there's some new photos that have been added of this home. And if someone's watching it right from home and they get that ping, they're going to go in and look at it. If they're going to be notified about price changes. That notification is obviously going to drive someone to go back in and look at the app, because if there's a price change, it's like, oh, right. Like when I went and looked at it, it was at 500 and now it's down to 480 or right, whatever, just as an example. So the power of an app is that it can send you push notifications, right? And you can be notified about things that you want. If they're watching a home, that's something they want to be notified about, right? Yeah. Now I'm going to transition over to the tracking. Okay. The tracking component of Novi Home, right? So we've talked a lot about the introduction experience, the favoriting homes or watching homes, right, for people and stuff like that. So then, Cody, Ty, your lead leaves the model, right? They've now left. They have your app on their phone. You're notified. I'll have kind of Cody talk about this first, and then maybe Ty jump in. But then you're notified about when people are logging on and looking at the app. How does that help you sell to these leads?
Oh, it helps a ton. And just to backpedal a second, the benefit of the app versus the website. I've had several clients, both pre-contract and post-contract, get on the app every single day. Every single day. No one's getting on a website every day, but on the app, they're getting on every single day, which is cool because sometimes, you meet with a prospect and they leave and, you don't know their interest level. You don't know, if they're even still thinking about the home or the community. But when I see they're getting on the app every single day, I know that, they're envisioning their life there. So I think that's super cool. But yeah, like you were talking about, I get a notification every time, a client gets on the app. The notification shows me when they logged on. I also get notifications on, the homes that they're viewing. And so it really makes it easy to know, which home to focus on and target with them. And it also helps to know which clients to prioritize. We meet with a lot of people out here. We have our own kind of rating system, A, B, C, D ranking in order of priority. And Novi Home is a big contributor to my ranking process. And so I'd say when I'm following up with people who are consistently getting on the app, the response that I get back is a lot more consistent and interactive. I'm not getting ghosted as often, and really we're able to build from just a desire to live in the home up to contract just through tracking their process. One of my favorite features, this is separate from the notifications I get on my phone, but I'll actually get a report from Novi, an email report of the last 24 hours. And it shows me the leads who have been interacting with the app on that report. And so I use that report basically on a daily basis. And basically I look at my A list, my B list, my C list, and I look at that report. And then I come up with a plan on how I'm going to reach out and follow up with the clients.
I love it. Right. And that you're going to miss push notifications throughout the day. Everybody does, right? It's just the nature of having a smartphone. So you're going to miss some, but that email report helps you kind of go, oh yeah, all right, here's a summary of what happened. Great. This is very helpful. And then yes, it gives the tracking in the app gives you so much more information that you otherwise wouldn't know about somebody, and it helps you gauge their interest and rate them appropriately. Right. And so Ty, kind of transitioning over to you, last week we talked about, right? So Cody kind of talked about the immediate tracking of, like, I met with someone and they're logging onto the app like every day for a week. That helps you know right away where they're at, right? But sometimes you have leads that come out, you add them to the app, they log in once, and then they go cold, right? Like they ghost you guys, you're not hearing back from them. But then all of a sudden, they log back onto the app. Ty, talk to me about like some success stories you guys have with that, or just like how that helps your team re-engage with a lead that you really otherwise wouldn't know about.
I think the number is out of every registrant that we have, each registrant on average logs in 9.5 times to the
9.5. That's amazing. That's so good.
That's average, right? So obviously you have some people who aren't, and some people who aren't logging back in. You have some people who are logging in 20 times.
Right.
But on average, each registrant logs in 9.5 times. I can't think of a brochure that I've ever gone back to 9 times.
Thank you. That's amazing. Well said. Right. Somebody clip that right there. That is so good. Mm-hmm. And your guys's login rate is so high because of, again, the paperless. Also, I want to speak and really shout out Cody and the other sales agents, right, that are in the model homes. They do such a great job at introducing and explaining the app to prospective buyers. That helps them understand why it would even be valuable to put on their phone in the first place. So much of Novi Home and how it works, especially with leads and prospects, it comes back to the salesperson, not the buyers. The demographic of buyers is actually not the main variable in how often they'll use the app, right? It's really the sales agents and how they introduce it. And again, your team does such a good job with that. 9.5 times on average per buyer is amazing, right? Like that's just like an incredible number, right? Again, I've heard this story a number of times, but I love this example, right? Ty or Cody, either one of you can answer this. Tell an experience, or just it can be just kind of generalized, but of a time that you got pinged that somebody has logged into the app and you haven't heard from that person in weeks or maybe months, but at this point, and then how that helps you follow up with them.
Yeah, I've had that.
So you jump on this.
No, I've had that happen several times. Someone, you'll get them on the app. You have an initial meeting and, you think they're super interested and they just go cold on you. And so you might go, I don't know, weeks, maybe a month or two without any contact. And then all of a sudden you get a notification that they've been logging onto the app. And that's kind of a trigger in my head, obviously, to reach out to them. So, I'll call them and follow up. And, sometimes it's like, they'll give you the explanation like, oh, life got busy, or, a major life event happened in their life or something like that. And they had to end their home searching process. But, since then it's changed and they've been logging back on, and, their interest level is back. And they're now an active buyer in the market. And so, yeah, I've had several buyers kind of go cold on me and then come back, use the app. I reach out to them, and then, yeah, we make it happen for them. Or maybe, a home, they were waiting for a home for us to be built, and then it gets built and they get those push notifications, and they see the pictures of the home. And it's go time. It's ready. They're ready to go for that home.
Yeah,
Koy, I've heard that from every single one of our agents. all these people ghosted me, they're gone. It may be 5 days, it could be, 5 months. And then I'll hear, oh my gosh, they just jumped on the app. I got pinged that they just jumped on and we're looking at such and such a house. And it really gives us the opportunity to just jump and reach out to them immediately, right? Like, it's such good time. I mean, it's like the perfect cue to know when to jump in.
It's not a cold call,
Not
right? Like, you could follow up with these people for weeks and months, but then at some point they might block you, mark it as spam or something, right? Because they're like not interested. But if you know they have been looking again, then that's really no longer a cold call. They're showing interest, so you're reaching out to get their question answered, and you wouldn't otherwise know that, right, without the tracking of the app. So
and this is kind of a spin-off of that, but I've also had I just think the app is nice because, once someone, does come back in the market, that's maybe the first thing they'll go to is, I'm going to check the app to see how the community's looking, what homes are available. I've also had, we sell both townhomes and single families in our community. So I've had some of my townhome buyers that we sold, the very genesis of the community. And, from the beginning, their plan was to eventually work their way up to a single family home. Well, I've seen some old buyers get on the app to look at single family homes. So go from one home in the community to another home in the community. And, so they're still interacting with the app even post closed. And so it's been super cool. We've had a couple buyers actually already move in the community to buy another one of our homes. And the app has been a contributor and helpful to them that.
Yeah, well, let you know, hey, they're back looking at homes again, right? Like, they may have not been on the app for a while once they're closed. But I remember when I went out to see you guys earlier this year, and it had been about 2 years since I had visited you guys on site. And I remember you guys told me that some buyers had already moved from one home to another in the community. And I was like, wow. And I can only imagine with how many lots, over 8,000 lots that you guys have in the community. I'm sure this is going to happen many, many times, right, over the next 10 to 20 years. So very cool. Okay. Let's go. I kind of want to jump to, we've been talking about kind of the front end of Novi Home, sales and marketing, prospecting, and leads. Cody, I want you specifically to talk for a minute about your guys' process with buyers post-contract in Novi Home, right? So just so everybody knows, Candlelight Homes does a weekly phone call with all of your customers. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but this is what I understand.
It's an absolute non-negotiable. We communicate every single Monday with every buyer who's in the process. So our sales team sits down with the superintendent, construction manager, and they call every single buyer and communicate with them every single Monday.
Love that. I absolutely love that. I'm a huge, obviously, working for Novi Home, but just as a believer in general in customer updates. Buyers deserve to be updated and in the loop as to what's going on with their home, whether they can go visit their home or not. Some of your buyers, I'm sure, can come look at their home regularly. Some maybe not as often, but I think they all deserve to be updated every week as to what's going on with their home. Cody, talk to me a little bit about how does Novi Home help you with, right? So you did the weekly phone calls, but how does Novi Home help contribute with keeping them updated with the milestones and the progress photos?
Yeah. So once someone goes under contract on a home, you can mark them as under contract on the app for that home. And so from that point forward, they will get the updates on that house, on their specific home. So they'll be the only one getting the updates. And some of those updates include pictures, which all buyers love pictures. I think it makes the process so fun if they're, building a home or looking forward to their home to be complete. And so, weekly, us agents, we try to, there's many reasons to go through your homes consistently, but, Novi Home and adding those pictures is a big part of that. And so on our Monday call, we'll talk to our buyers and tell them, hey, we updated the app. We put some new pictures on, check out the process. And, we can, in those phone calls, talk about those pictures and, build up the excitement of the home build process with those buyers. And sometimes we may forget to upload pictures, and the buyers will let us know. They'll remind us, and so yeah, we'll be sure to go and update those. But they'll see the milestones as far as, the home's still in framing, to the home's drywall phase, to interior finishes. So on the app we have those milestones, which makes it easier for the buyer to follow the process. Not all buyers know which step is next, so they can follow that process, and see the pictures. And then it also helps because retroactively, maybe the buyers move in and they're trying to hang things up on the wall, and they want to see what the home looked like in the framing phase. And so those reference photos of the home during the build are super useful for the buyers, for the agents too, because we have just the homes logged, all the build process all in one place. So yeah, it's super, like I mentioned, I have buyers getting on the app every day. And so it's just, a fun way for the buyers to stay involved in that process and get those updates.
I had somebody tell me recently, a user I was speaking with, a Novi Home user, and they said the app, the milestones specifically in the app, we feel have just overall increased satisfaction with our customers because it helps them feel like their house is actually progressing, right? So sometimes buyers feel like a little disconnected, right, during that process. You guys do a weekly call. You do a good job keeping them informed. Not all builders do a weekly call. Some of our builders just do the app update, right? And prior to Novi Home, some builders just did a text or an email update. They would try to do it every week, but sometimes people feel a little disconnected. Photos and the milestones help people feel like their house is actually moving along, right? They're getting some new pictures every week. Cody, I love that you said that your buyers, if they didn't get some pictures, they'll let you know on the phone, right? Because they want the pictures. And then the milestones, right? It's just like, it helps them just feel like their house is, we're in there working on their house and it's actually moving along as it's supposed to, right? It helps keep people happy and engaged.
Yeah.
You guys do a good job of that. So,
and just a quick add too, we also have just useful homeowner information too. So we have like the contacts for utilities, emergency contacts. We have local school information. So as the buyers are prepping to move into their home, we often refer to those PDF documents that we upload on the app as well.
A guest we had a couple months ago, basically she kind of said the same thing. She goes, I put HOA and utilities, and I mean all of that's in the app, right? That they're going to be in the app to go look at their photos and milestones and communicate, right? Like let's just put all that information there. It just kind of creates this one-stop shop for them.
One thing, Koy, we as I mentioned before, we have an activities director.
Yes.
Her monthly calendar is inside the app as well.
Oh, very cool.
Kids know if they're doing an egg drop or if they've got bingo, like they know what their schedule is through the app as well.
I remember meeting with you, Ty, when probably the first time we met. And I remember you telling me long term, we want all of our buyers in the community to keep the app on their phone so that they can stay up to date with community activities and events that are going on, right? And so that the app can contribute to getting the word out about these things that are going on, which is really, really cool. Okay, well, we got just a couple of minutes left. Ty, this question's for you, and Cody, you can jump in and add some if you want to as well. When you look at your overall sales process, okay, how do you feel that Novi Home has actually helped you convert leads into buyers or into customers?
Well, I think, we talked earlier. I started in this business back in 2004, and all I had was the paper registrations, right?
Yeah.
And there is having that system where the buyers are getting input into our CRM instantly. So when they come in, they're getting registered, they're instantly hitting our CRM. We're just not losing buyers ever. It's just they're always there. I think Cody said it at the beginning. We're probably at a 95% acceptance rate, and people just, here's my information. Let me log in and I'll register for the app. The other 5 we may have to log them in and do it for them ourselves after they've walked out the door. But right there, I think that's probably one of the most important things. There's no losing of a piece of paper. There's no, coffee spilled on it, and now I can't read it anymore. And it's funny because I still hear stories. I mean, I've got a lot of friends in the industry, and I was just talking with an agent who's with a different builder, and he took over a community, and the guy handed him just a stack. When he took over the community, the guy just handed him a stack of paper registrations. And he's like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, is this really your system for tracking people? And and it was. I mean, that's what worked for this guy. You ask specifically, how does it help our sales process? Well, that right there, that helps, it gets them into the CRM. So we know that they're going to go through a nice drip campaign on the emails. Like we know the system has started with Novi, right? And that's the most important thing, is that first step. And it begins with you guys.
Awesome, right? And just so everyone knows, right? Like the Candlelight team uses CRM as pretty much, I'm sure anyone listening does. They use Lasso specifically. Novi registrants dump right into Lasso, so less leads are being lost, right? I mean, they're all getting into the CRM. They're being added to Novi, so you're getting the tracking, and then obviously the CRM is hitting them with the drip campaigns and all the really cool things that a CRM can do, right? Cody, were you going to say something?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say it's a big step in the initial process of getting someone loaded into our CRM. I'd say I see the benefit, let's say on a Saturday when it's super, super busy out. And maybe I have an appointment or two and then a couple walk-ins. I'll meet with them at the end of the appointment. I'll get them on the app. And then I'm able to add some notes through one of those text boxes. And so I'll typically add a couple notes about the person, this is the home they wanted, or, this is the nurse I met with, or this is how they heard about us. And then, I end it with them, and then I have to immediately jump into, maybe some B-back buyers are down the street with another agent. So I'm going to hop over and help them. And then at the end of the day, I can see all the registrants I had from that day. And I have the notes from logging them on the app, and I have how they heard about us, and I can kind of remember who the client was and what they were looking for. And so really you're not losing anyone in the cracks. You have their number, you have their email, and you can kind of you can use both their number and email to follow up with them, depending on where you're getting the responses from. So it really is nice because you have all your info there. You have the first name, you have their last name, you have your email, their number, and notes about them. So it's a really big part of the initial process of integrating them with the CRM. And then from then we follow up and typically add notes just through our CRM. But yeah.
Hey, Koy, can I add one thing to what Cody just said?
Yes, please.
I absolutely loved it. So normally when we hand them a piece of paper, right, we're getting their information or we're registering them. Both things that are benefiting us, right? They're benefiting the builder. And I love how Cody said it. Let me get you the app. And by get you on the app, right? I mean, that's how he's saying it. He doesn't say, let me get you registered. He says, let me get you on the app. Let me get you the app. It changes it. That whole sentiment is, let me get you something instead of you give me something. And I think actually, I just picked up on it the way he said it. I think that's key.
I do too. You're giving a CRM is invaluable, right? Gotta have it. But the CRM is for you guys internally, right? More than anything, as the builder. The app is, hey, I'm giving this to you in return for you giving me, right? You give me your information, right? We'll chat. We'll go look at the homes. The app is given to you. It's going to benefit you during shopping. If you decide to build a home with us during the construction portion of that journey, it's just going to help you throughout your whole journey, right? Okay, before we jump off, I want each of you to give your 30-second one bit of advice you would give let's say somebody's brand new to Novi Home. 30-second, this is what your number one piece of advice you would tell somebody. I'll have Cody go first. I know I'm kind of putting you quickly on the spot. 30-second, one bit of advice for a brand new Novi Home user, sales agent specifically.
Yeah, I would just say walk when you're getting someone on the app. Just walk through it with them. Explain why you're doing it. Sometimes people ask, "Oh, why do you need my phone or my phone number or my email?" And I say, "Oh, well, this is a community specific app. And so in order to get our community's information, it will be by invite. So I'll send you an invite and that way you can get live updates on our homes, on community maps. And it really is a one-stop shop. And so I would say just, walk them through, the app, what it's good for, what it will do for them. And explain to them, a lot of people, I like to just tell them a lot of people love it for X, Y, and Z. Really, I think it's the next, other than coming out to the community, it's the next best thing people can do to get the experience of learning about a community and their homes. And so I'd say give them the familiar, hospitable experience, shake their hand, get to know them. And then at the end, show them the app. And I think they'll really feel that it's, cutting edge and will help benefit them in the process.
Love it. Oh, that was
sorry,
so
longer than 30 seconds.
That's okay. It was so good. It was great. You get, I love that response. Show them the app, walk them through it, right? All great pieces of advice there. All right, Ty.
If you're a builder inside of Eagle Mountain, don't get it. if you're outside of Eagle Mountain, Utah, download it. It'll help you a ton. No, I'm just kidding. We are unique enough out here in Firefly. Our community is unique. Our homes are unique enough that we could even withstand the competition having the app. But it really does. It works so well. We've given all the reasons for it. We absolutely love it. It's something that we're going to be using forever. So yeah, go Novi Home.
I love it. Ty and Cody, thank you both so much for joining this today. It's so valuable for our other clients across the country to hear what actual users are saying. So Cody, you're a boots on the ground, day to day, right? Sales agent using Novi Home. It's super valuable to hear from you. And Ty, managing a team of agents using Novi Home, super valuable. So we appreciate both of you coming on and sharing your insight today. Thanks to everybody who joined and listened in today. Again, Ty and Cody, thank you so much for your time. That's going to wrap up the webinar for today.